Hey, good morning. How y'all doing? It is Well Red Beard, and it is a damn fine day to talk about a book. We are here for a book review, and today we're going to talk about Inside Out by Lor Gislason, and this is from Dark Lit Press. I didn't love this book. I'm probably at 2 stars. It was okay for me. You know, and again, every time I have to do this, it brings up the conversation. Because a lot of people refuse to talk about books they don't like. I personally think it's important because I want to elevate independent small press horror as a whole, and I feel that if I just talk about the ones I love, it looks like I'm a fluff factory, and I'm not a fluff factory. And I feel that as a community, we may get that designation, that opinion about us. I mean, there are um, hundreds of thousands of people reading horror, but our community still feels small, and those are the readers I want to attract to independent small press horror. And I feel that you know if they start with the wrong book, which this may not be the wrong book, but if they start with the wrong book, they'll get turned off as a whole. So for me, it's important to talk about the ones I don't love so that the ones that I do love are elevated. I firmly believe in that. That said, it's not fun. This is Lor's debut, is my understanding. It's not fun for me to say, hey, I know you put a lot of time and effort into that, but I just didn't like it. But, I do feel that it's, while difficult, it is important. So, before I go into this, I want to say that other people are loving this book. Ross Jeffrey, 5 star, loved this book. Brendan LaFaro, 4 star, really liked the book. I know Erica Robin liked it. A lot of people that I follow and respect their opinion liked this book. And I think that, because I talked to a few of them, I think a lot of that comes from, first of all, let's talk about the cover. The cover is great. I love the cover. That is a really, really cool image. Let me see if I can tell you who did the cover. Cover art is by Eduardo Valdez Hevia. Um, so I think that the cover has a lot to do with I mean, I liked the cover. I dug the cover. Now, second, it's kind of a mosaic. Like, these stories, while they all focus on the same central point, they're unrelated. Like, it's different points of view. So we meet a character, we find, and then we're not coming back to that character. I mean, not really. So I think for me, like, and it's a novella, right? But what I'm trying to say is that, like, even when I was 30, 40 pages in and not loving it, I was like, this is going to turn around. This is going to, it's a mosaic, so if I'm not invested in this part of the story, I might be invested in the next part. So another reason for me to keep going. But Darklit Press, love the product they're putting out. This one felt a little bit, I don't know. I may have gotten an early copy, but it had quite a few errors in it. And again, I normally overlook those types of things. This one, in this situation, there was like a two, and I didn't mark them, but there was like a 2 page span where there were words crammed together. Like, there was one part, and again, I'm an old 46-year-old guy, so sometimes I wonder if the author did it. A young author might do it on purpose. Like, there was one where, like, the character wouldn't do something, and wouldn't was crammed together. I was like, oh, that just might be like on purpose. But then there was like 2 others down in the same like 2 page span where like the words were crammed together. So again, it may be an early copy. I don't think so, but if that's the case, if that's something that can still be fixed, I wanted to mention it. Overall, I just wasn't invested in the stories. It's an apocalyptic story. It's a story about a disease, red mossy substance that's found, infects people, causes them to melt, turn into these blob-like creatures that just consume, eat anything that they run over. There were and then ultimately, I hate when I say ultimately. I ultimately hate that. I do it all the time. But it kind of uh evolves into this giant mass, this mound of all these creatures together, like this tentacle, just all of them. Everyone that's been infected with it, kind of blob together in this mass. So let's talk about the synopsis a little bit here. An over-the-top tribute to the goopy, grimy, and gross horror of the 1980s. After a mysterious infection spreads through the world, people and animals start melting into horrific monsters. The wild debut novella follows everyday people dealing with the new chaotic reality, from school children to scummy landlords to mad scientists. Featuring illustrations from artists such as Enid Duncan, Matt Pierce, and S.J. Miller, with cover art by Eduardo Valdez-Hevia, barf bag not included. Now, Haley Piper, I love Haley Piper's work, says a fascinating mosaic of human experiences, each leading us deep through a gauntlet of the bodily macabre. I can feel that. I can feel that Lor is on the verge of being this, body horror mastermind. It just it felt like a debut to me. Again, the errors in the text, like even some of the formatting, like there's images throughout, which I love. The fact that we include images, but they were all by different artists. It didn't feel synchronous. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Like some of them were full page splashes. A lot of them came at the end of the stories, of the individual stories, but somewhere in the middle. It didn't feel symmetrical, I guess is the word I'm looking for. And I just didn't really love any of the internal stories. I talked to Brendan LaFaro about it, again, because I'm not here to bash anyone, and I do not bring my initial reactions on books I don't like here. I do see if there's a way to spin them. Not overly embellish, not overly fluff them, but I do attempt to spin these stories up. He said he really liked the way that the author pulled it all together in the end, in this idea of God, and this idea of what God really was, and God wasn't what we had been taught in Sunday school, and I could somewhat see that. I could somewhat see the coolness factor to that. But it's apocalyptic, it's monsters, it's goopy, globby, body horror, I just didn't love it. But that's just me. That's just me. And a lot of people are loving it. You tell me your opinion, tell me why I'm wrong. If you loved this book, tell me what you loved about it. For me, if you're like, my favorite dark lit press book to this point has been This Is Where We Talk Things Out. I think that's the title. It's a long title. It's by Caitlin Marceau. So I just feel that it's important, and that's it. And you can see that I'm kind of struggling with it, but didn't love this one. Inside Out, Lor Gislason, Well Red Beard. That's my review. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're enjoying all your books, all of them, as much as I am. If not, you're reading the wrong damn books.